Okay, so here I told you that this test flight booking depends upon opening browser. Okay, so if you want to run this test case, though this test case got failed, okay, if that is your priority. So before, as I told you that if you say depends on methods opening browser, this will execute first, and also this will execute first, and also if this passes, then only control will go to successfully to this step. And for example, if you want to run this test case first, and though it fails, still if you want to reach this method, then you need to give as attribute called comma always run equals to true. Okay, if you provide this attribute, it understands that okay, opening browser should run first, but that doesn't mean that if this fails, I should not run flight booking. Though it fails, this will get execute if you provide always run equals to true attribute. If you don't provide that, then if it fails, control will not come to this method. Okay, so if this is your test case that even if fails it should happen, then use this attribute. Fine, so that's how you use always run and enabled. And there is one more attribute called timeout. Okay, let me explain you even that. Create one more class, time related. Okay, so here you write some test case here. Fine, and benchmark of your requirement is whatever you write. Example, assume that credit card payment, so the credit card payment should happen in 45 seconds. Okay, so you can put a set of timeout here, and if it crosses that 45, for example 500 milliseconds, basically 5000 milliseconds in the sense, change to timeout. Okay, so it will wait for 5 seconds, not 5 seconds, complete execution. If it doesn't complete in 5 seconds, script will fail. Okay, so just it's some point we should look this into as a performance point of view. Okay, so credit card payment should happen in 45 seconds. If it crosses 45 seconds, though the execution is completed, script will return as saying fail, as the timeout crossed the expected limit. Fine, so you can put this as some up to your number. If it is a 5 second, go for 5000 milliseconds. If it is a 10 seconds or 45 seconds, go for 45,000 milliseconds, basically 45 seconds. So complete execution should happen in 45 seconds. If not, script will fail. Okay, so that's where you can use timeout attribute. Fine, so what else we have? And we also have basically we left with one annotation called data provider annotation. It's basically very important. So data driving uh, into your framework will happen through the data provider annotation. So basically there might be a lot of data which you need to provide at runtime, so you take it from external source or file or excel, right? So but in a test ng there is an annotation called data provider, at where we provide all our data, and in our execution, when the execution is happening, so our test will go to the data provider and pick all those data and place into the required fields. Okay, so that's the most important annotation which is left, and that annotation I'll talk after few lectures. So before that, let's talk about testng xml file. Okay, so once we are clear with xml file configuration, then we start talking about the one and only annotation left, that is data provider. Fine, so these are the help attributes which you can say for your test execution. If you want to depends upon method, and if you want to always run it, enable, timeout. Okay, it's up to you where you can actually use those. So basically people will handle those from the scripting phase. That means they say that if this script is false, still go and run this. They will go and write if conditions, but with a just single line you can make it down work. Okay. So what I suggest you to practice these annotations and try to write multiple tests and place them randomly with the help of annotations and see the how the execution is happening. Okay. So we completely touched the most of the annotations except one what I spoke just now. And once the testng XML file discussion is done, then I'll talk about the data provider, and thereafter we have some groups annotation also. So with that, the testng, you will be an intermediate level in the testng. So once we touch Maven and Jenkins, then you will actually fold the many things. Okay. So that's about annotations. At least I'll put a pause on here and let me switch back to testng XML file concepts. Once I finish that, and I'll come back to these annotations and teach the remaining. Okay. So yeah, you can get this file in a download section. Thank you.